What if I told you there's a study from a real university showing that the more you spend on your wedding, the more likely you are to get divorced? Not opinion, not a hot take, published research. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what the data says, why the wedding industry doesn't want you to see it, and the simple system that lets you celebrate big without destroying your financial future. Stay with me. Picture this: two couples, same city, same Saturday. Both just got married. Couple one wakes up the morning after their wedding in a luxury hotel suite. Flowers wilting, gift bags everywhere, and a $40,000 credit card bill for a 6-hour party. Couple two wakes up in their apartment. Coffee at home. They pull up their brokerage account. $3,000 backyard ceremony. The other $37,000? Already sitting in an investment account. Growing. Quietly. While they sleep. Same love. Wildly different futures. Before I show you the study, you need to understand the machine you're feeding when you plan a big wedding. The wedding industry is worth over $70 billion in the US alone, and it runs on one core emotion: fear. Fear that if you don't spend enough, people will judge your love. Fear that going small means you don't care. That fear is expensive. Here's how it works in practice. A photographer charges $1,500 for a corporate event. Full day, edited photos, same equipment. The moment you say the word wedding, that jumps to $3,500 or $4,000. Same camera, same person, same hours. A venue rents out for $2,000 on a Saturday night. Add wedding reception to the inquiry, and it's $6,000. Same room, same chairs. You're not paying for quality, you're paying a status tax, a markup the industry charges because they know you won't push back on your special day. And I want to be clear, I'm not blaming the vendors. They're running a business. I'm asking you to see the game for what it is before you play it. That $500 centerpiece, do you actually love it? Or are you afraid of what your co-workers will say if it's not there? Now the data. In 2014, researchers at Emory University published a study that tracked thousands of married couples. They found a striking pattern. Couples who spent over $20,000 on their wedding were 46% more likely to divorce than couples who spent between $5,000 and $10,000. Now, and this is important, correlation is not causation. Spending $20,000 doesn't automatically break your marriage, but the pattern points to something deeper. Couples who overspend on weddings often start their marriage under financial pressure, and financial stress is consistently ranked as one of the top reasons marriages fail. Not the only reason, but one of the biggest. So the spending itself isn't the poison. It's what the spending creates: debt, tension, resentment, arguments about money before you've even figured out how to share a bathroom. I call it high-income poverty, earning well on paper, but owning nothing because it all went to a single event. Have you ever seen a couple argue about money right after their wedding? Drop a yes in the comments. I think the answers will be eye-opening. Now let's talk about the math banks pray you never do. Average American wedding, $35,000. Take that same $35,000, drop it into an S&P 500 index fund at a historical 8% return, wait 25 years. That money becomes over $240,000. Now, is that a perfect number? No. Taxes, fees, and real-world volatility will adjust it. But even conservatively, cut it in half. You're still looking at $120,000 that doesn't exist because it went to a DJ, a venue, and a cake. Let me reframe that. You are potentially trading 6 figures of retirement security for 6 hours of content. And I'm not saying the memories don't matter. They do. But there are ways to create those memories without trading your future for them, and that's what we're getting to next. 6 hours of looking rich or 25 years of actually being wealthy? Which one wins? So how do you actually do this? How do you have a celebration that feels meaningful without quietly wrecking your finances? I use a framework called Memory to Margin. 3 steps. Step 1, the replacement test. Ask yourself one honest question. If this venue, this caterer, this decorator, all disappeared tomorrow, would I still want to marry this person? Obviously, yes. So now you know the truth. Those things are additions, not requirements. And every addition has a cost. The fancy venue doesn't just cost the rental fee. It comes with mandatory catering, extra insurance, coordination stress, and a minimum spend that locks you in. Before you sign anything, ask, what am I actually buying here? Step 2, selective frugality. You don't have to cut everything. That's miserable, and it's not the point. Pick 2 things that genuinely matter to you, not to Instagram, not to your aunt, to you. Maybe it's the food and the photographer. Maybe it's the music and the dress. Go premium on those 2. Cut everything else without guilt. I'll give you a real example. A couple I know spent $800 total on their wedding. Courthouse ceremony, dinner at their favourite restaurant with 12 people, and a professional photographer for 2 hours. 5 years later, no debt, first home purchased, and they still say it was the best day of their lives. Not because it was cheap, because it was intentional. Step 3, the Freedom Fund Registry. This one changes the game. Instead of a traditional gift registry full of kitchen appliances you'll use twice, set up a Freedom Fund. Ask guests to contribute toward a house deposit, an emergency fund, or paying off high-interest debt. It might feel awkward. Do it anyway. Because a $150 blender depreciates. A $150 contribution to your mortgage deposit appreciates for decades. If you could only keep 2 things from a traditional wedding, what would they be? Drop your 2 in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what people actually value versus what the industry tells us to value. Let me leave you with this. Every study on millionaires, not celebrities, not trust fund kids, everyday millionaires shows the same pattern. They don't optimize for appearance. They optimize for optionality. The freedom to choose, the freedom to walk away from a bad job, the freedom to take a risk on a business, the freedom to be generous without stress. Those people rarely had extravagant weddings. They drive older cars. They live in homes below their means. And they made one decision early that separated them from everyone else. They chose long-term freedom over short-term performance. Real wealth whispers. I didn't make that up, but I live by it. Your wedding day is one day. Your marriage is supposed to be the rest of your life. Fund the marriage, not the party. Here's your homework. If you're planning a wedding, or even just thinking about it, open your guest list right now. Highlight every name you haven't spoken to in 2 years. If you're spending $150 a plate on those people, you're not hosting loved ones. You're subsidizing strangers' dinners with money your future self desperately needs. The wedding industry spends billions telling you what your love should look like, but no amount of marketing should get to decide your financial trajectory. A joyful, meaningful celebration doesn't require debt. It requires clarity. And now you have it. If you'd rather build wealth than perform it, subscribe. You belong here.